Hello and welcome to Big Red Journeys. I'm your host Big Red, and on today's journey we're here at Lightscape 2024. So here we are, we're entering in on the orange parking lot. There's actually 4 different parking lots with 3 entrances. There's an orange, a blue, and a red/yellow. There's really no bad entrance because the way it is pretty much just one large circle. So whether you're going through the orange, you're just going a round loop, you go in the blue, you're going a round loop, red and yellow, it's a loop. Except the red and yellow lot is the one that's closest to the main entrance that people are most familiar with when it comes to the Botanic Garden. Lot, you can see there's some people coming down this way. Again, it's just one large loop. Lots of wonderful, pretty lights here. For this video, I'm going to do something a little bit different here. When we do a tour, we're going to do a full circle tour of all that Lightscape has to offer, but I'm really not going to talk as much as I normally would in these videos, because the premise behind it is for you to look at the lights, enjoy the ambiance, the time. I don't know much about plants, so I'm not even going to try to pretend to know. I may point out a few things and be like, oh, this is pretty cool. Obviously give my tips and tricks from the previous time that I was here to really maximize your time here for Lightscape. But really, I'm just going to let the lights show for themselves. But I will be probably subbing in different music because there's a lot of copyright music over here and I don't want to get a strike on YouTube for the video. So we're going to do a lot of cutaways and intros and change the music. So, but please do enjoy this video. Gotta love the lights up here on the cacti and whatnot. I do know that the garden is divided up into various regions of the world. There's plants you might see from parts of South America, jungles of Africa, deserts of the Southwest and whatnot. So I'm going to keep talking right now because there's a copyright music behind me for sure. But we can still enjoy the lights, and the lights do sync a little bit to the music. We're coming across our first one. We have restrooms right over there, but second, we do have our first little drink and snack stand. So we're not going to grab anything to eat or drink, but let's at least take a look at what's on the menu. We have things such as chicken sandwiches, all beef hot dogs. We do have some drinks here. We have some hot mulled cider, Prosecco, wine, soda, water, and some sweets over here of a giant red velvet cookie, Candyland candy selection, and extra large kettle corn. As we go throughout the garden here, a lot of these are actual art installations, so there might be some information about the artist, in particular the names. If there is any of that, I will definitely put that in the video. Here is an example of what we're talking about when you want to wear comfortable, nice shoes, because the majority of the pathways are going to be paved like this, but every so often there will be some offshoots, which are going to be dirt and a little bit rocky, so make sure you're wearing some comfortable, proper shoes for your walk here. This one was a returning from last year. This one was one of my favorites of all time, the Golden Poppies. But also, speaking of favorites, one of my favorite YouTubers of all time right over here, SoCal Disney. Hi. Dad. How are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing well. Thanks for inviting me to come with you.
Of course. Thank you for thanking me. That works. But he went here, what was it? Was it last year or 2 years ago?
2 years, the first year.
The first year.
The first year.
First year. So we're going to enjoy ourselves. We're going to take our time. And I do know that about, I think 50% of it is completely new from even the previous 2 years. So we're both going to have a fun new experience here.
I'm looking forward to it.
There we go. wanted to stay here for a little bit and talk a little bit about some tips and tricks that I've learned and some information to give to you for Lightscape. So it's returning for its 3rd year here. It's on select dates starting November 15th through January 5th. And the times are 5 to 10 p.m. with last entry at 8:45 p.m. And the timed entries are every 15 minutes. And on roughly, it takes the people about an hour and a half to go through all of Lightscape and truly enjoy themselves. Obviously, once you're in, you can stay as long as you want until closing time, but the average person is about an hour and a half or so. I'm gonna call this one the Cheshire Cat Road, just because I see purples and pinks and whatnot. So far, I haven't seen any signs or anything that talks about the actual artist. Last year, I'm gonna show an example. They had these signs all over the installations of the artist, and you can learn a little bit more with a QR code, but I'm not seeing any of that this year. Here's an installation that Lindsay Sterling herself would be very proud of. All the strings. Hey, we're gonna talk about this one. So we got some neon strings, almost like a spider webs in a way, but also like rhythmic. I guess you can actually touch them. Yeah, they're just soft bungees. Oh, that's pretty cool. As we went through that one was called Neon Network, and it makes quite sense. It's like fiber optic network, right? Like Trevor said, Tron. But I do have a map here that shows the names of the actual art installations themselves, just no information on the artist. So if I do find any, I will certainly put that in here for you. But I did ask one of the employees here, and unfortunately the signs did not arrive in time for today's opening, but they did say it was gonna be here for this weekend. So chances are by the time you watch this video, the signs speaking about the artists and the art installation themselves will be here, and you can get further information that way. But here we are walking up into Submergence. Ooh, it's making noise kind of like you're being shocked or electrocuted. Oh, this is cool. Now heading over to the yellow and red light parking. Now there are lights going through there, but nothing essentially specific to Lightscape. You can see there's some trees lit up and decorated beautifully, but those are not part of the actual art installation themselves. There's just one large pathway that comes from those parking lots, the front entrance of the gardens, down to here to the main split. I feel like there's more dirt paths on this time around than last year, but I could be completely wrong. All right, here we go. So here is an example of two ways you can go about. We're coming to a, I guess a fork in the road. You can go the steep trail, or the easy trail. Knowing myself, normally I would go for the easy trail, but you know what? We're gonna go for the steep trail. And we'll probably end up doing both anyways. Here's the easy trail. So the steep trail goes up further into the jungles over there. Back around there's a waterfall continuation. But you can see this little water sprinkler right over here, which is still beautiful. But then you continue on with the trail down that way to the left. But we're gonna go up to see the steep one. So we made it all the way up to the top of the hill. Wasn't that bad, but we are rewarded with a wonderful little waterfall here. That's beautiful with the whites and the blues. Looks like constant flowing water even on the grass and the leaves. Very pretty. A little lily pond right here. Let's talk a little bit more about some tips and tricks for you, as well as some information that you would need to do. They are closed on select weekdays, including all the major holidays such as Thanksgiving, Christmas Eve, and Christmas Day. So do keep that in mind. Tickets, you must arrive within 15 minutes of your timed reservation. If you do miss it and you do arrive a little bit later, they will try their best to accommodate you, but it does depend on crowd levels, because again, some of these days may get completely full and you may not get to actually walk through the garden if you do miss your time. So please do keep that in mind. There is a flex ticket option as well too for $60, which does allow you any time of the day that you come to come in and check in at between 5 and 8:30. That's $60 and it does include parking, so it might be a good deal for you if you don't know the exact time in which you will be able to make it here. When it comes to pricing, there are 3 different tiers to keep in mind: value, off-peak, and peak days. So do keep that in mind. Pricing will vary. I'm going to put a little breakdown of all the different pricings here. They do have a member, a non-member, and a military price for adults and youth. I do feel like they illuminated more of the pathways this year. Like they put in more additional lights that aren't necessarily part of the Lightscape per se, but still give a wonderful atmosphere environment to it. Now here is one more hill that goes up to a snack stand, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, just a little one. Oh, this is cute. It's like disco, yeah. Ba-ba-da-ba-ba-da. And sure enough, here is the next snack stand. This is going to be the larger one. This is the one, if memory serves me correctly, has more of the hot foods in which you can purchase. So yeah, it looks like we got some hot food here. A chicken salad sandwich, a Bavarian pretzel, a quesadilla, ham pie, beef hot dog, a pulled pork sandwich. Prices ranging about $11 to $15. Beverages, hot and cold. We got hot chocolate for $5, the Prosecco for $13, especially cocktails for $15. Wines are $16 and beer is $11. Soda and water is $5. Sweets over on this side, the same cookie, a brownie, a Candyland selection, cinnamon sugar donuts, ooh, and an extra large kettle corn from $6 to $12, give or take. Over here, he got the holiday brownie right there. Looks like a brownie with, wait, where is it, Trevor? Where's the brownie?
This is all there was.
I don't believe you, Trevor. I don't believe you paid like...
It was about like this.
Okay, there you go. So it was that good, was it?
Yeah, it's a little dry on the bottom. Icing is nice on top, and then I love peppermint, so the peppermint crumbles on top, or the what do you call it? Pieces? Peppermint pieces
there you
on
go.
top are pretty good, but the actual brownies, it's kind of dry.
Okay. Well, we're coming up to this corner over here. This was one of my favorite ones previously, and so it still looks beautiful. It is not the same. This used to have the one where like there's like a big, I think like a poinsettia leaf or something like that. Oh, it's still wonderful to look at, but it's not the same. There's a little trick I have if you want to get a decent view. It's not the same like last year, I'll admit, but it gets a little crowded down at the corner over there. But if you come up here, there's a little gazebo and you get a nice little aerial view. Oh, as aerial view as you can get. But there's also benches for you to sit, should you need a little spell. Well, I hear the wonderful sounds of ukulele and is, so I'm going to assume we're coming up. Yes, the wonderful Rainbow Road that's up there. I'm just going to let this one speak for itself. That was good to see that one. That was one of my favorite ones. I'm glad that one's back. But speaking of another favorite returning, this one I believe is a Moreton Bay fig tree, and they even made it better. Last year I think it was just all pure white icicles and white light, but now they have some like lights and projection going up there, including the white icicle lights. But I can hear some Coldplay playing in the background, and it syncs to that. Also right here by this tree is another snack stand, one of the smaller ones here. Looks like they have a hot dog with kettle chips, the velvet cookie as well. Light up cotton candy, extra large kettle corn. Prices for $7 to $12. Beverages here, a sparkling Prosecco, wine selections, beer selections, and soda water from $5 to $16. Some more tips for you as well too. Parking is paid and is required for entry here. Or of course you can carpool your way in through or lift your way through. I do recommend if you do need ADA disability parking, do let them know it's still paid, so you don't have to pay to get in for parking, but they will direct you to the ADA disability spots. On non-peak and value days, parking is $10 in advance. Day of, it's $20. On peak days, parking is $15 in advance or $25 day of. So definitely buy your parking ahead of time online. So here is the, I forget what they call it. I think they call this like the cathedral of lights or whatnot. This is the one that still has the, everyone takes their photo in front of this one, and we're going to do the same here too. Honestly, I think the one that we saw earlier, which had like the string lights hanging down and was like synchronized, I think that replaces this one, makes this one look pale in comparison. I personally like the other one better, but this is still beautiful. Say that much. Wear comfortable shoes, wear comfortable clothes, dress warmly. It can get pretty chilly right here. Obviously I'm wearing my nice bathrobe, so I'm feeling pretty good right now. wearing jeans. Crocs probably could have been better, but that's okay. But definitely do. And of course, speaking of clothes, if you need an umbrella, bring it with you, because rain or shine, this event happens. So just because it rains on your time doesn't necessarily mean that the event is going to be closed. Just keep that in mind. Called the Dragonflies. There we go. This one's nice. This one has that ambiance music that I wanted to hear. Oh yeah, these are pretty. Look at these dragonflies made out of metal. Have one more to loop around to. This is Star Avenue, and then we are pretty much right back at the beginning where we came through, near the orange parking lot. Does it. Now we're at the orange lot. Now remember, it's just one big loop. So whether you start at the orange lot, the blue lot, or the red and yellow lot, you'll end up going where you need to in the end, don't worry. And again, we are going to do a little bit of a double loop here just because I want to see some other lights once more. But like I said, once you're in here, you're allowed to stay in here as long as you like, up until closing time. A little note to mention here, usually the food places close about a half hour to an hour prior to the event closing. So do keep that in mind, okay? If you want that hot cocoa, don't do it half hour before closing. Do it even earlier than that, because there may not be a stand for you to grab that. Hence, right now we're about half hour before closing, and this one has been closed already. So we actually ended up going a second time around, and about 40 minutes before the garden closed. Nobody was around. It was real nice. So if you really want to get those perfect Instagram photo spots, wait towards the end. Nobody's around, trust me. A few more things to keep in mind for your visit here to Lightscape. The total walking is about 1 mile, give or take. So again, please prepare yourself for that physically, mentally. If you do have someone who has mobility issues, please do keep that in mind. There are some areas which may not necessarily be accessible for those. For the most part, this whole place is ADA wheelchair accessible, but there are some areas in which there might be a little bit of an incline or a steepness that you may want to be careful about. Food and drink cannot be brought into the event except for medical necessity. It's not that necessarily that they check. You didn't hear this from me, but you can obviously bring in a water bottle or a Gatorade. They're not going to say anything about that one. They don't do bag checks here, but technically you're not supposed to bring in food or beverage to the event. And doesn't necessarily have to be stated, but I will say it anyways. Service animals are the only animals permitted. Pets are not allowed, only authorized service animals. If it's a no-show for you, there's no refunds for you. They will let you reschedule if you set your time for, say, next weekend, and if something comes up and you can't make it anymore, let them know as soon as possible, and they will reschedule you to a different time, a different date, depending if there is availability for it, but there will be a small charge for that as well too. But just call the Botanic Garden and they can assist you if you need to change your plants. And this is a garden with lots of beautiful plant life, so please keep yourself, your party, your little ones, service animals if you bring them, on the designated paths. Please don't pick at the plants, don't pull at the plants, don't take a souvenir, don't take the pretty flower, leave it there, okay? Be respectful. This is not your garden. This is the San Diego Botanic Garden. They're here for other people, so please be respectful, do not destroy, and stay on the paths. Well, that's going to do it for tonight's journey here at Lightscape 2024. I had a great time. I hope you did as well too. If you did enjoy the video, do me a huge favor, give it a big thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you're new here, if it doesn't already. And third, hit that notification bell if you want to step further. And follow me at BigRedJourneys on TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram for even more content headed your way. So for me to you, thank you. And then I'll see you on the next journey. Bye-bye now.